Okay, so what I want to do here is share some of the findings in modern psychology regarding implicit social cognition. First of all, number one here, much of mental life occurs outside of conscious awareness or control. And this is actually an important discovery, right, in the history of psychology. There was a time when people believed that whatever is conscious in our minds, whatever we have introspective access to, that's pretty much it. That was the content of our mental life. And so the notion that there are all kinds of things happening outside of our conscious awareness, this was a discovery, an important discovery in the history of human psychology. Um, Number two, even exposure to information, even briefly, is sufficient for the information to be encoded by memory. Right now, a radical example of this is the subliminal stimuli. So you can flash an image or a word or something really quick. People say they don't see it, but then maybe it has some influence on future thinking or decisions or behavior or whatever. But of course, it's also the case that you might be aware of something, but again, it's just briefly present in some kind of real-time interaction with somebody, or you're watching something out in society, and so even brief just situations uh, are encoded by memory and can influence future behavior. Number three, people may possess associations with which they actively and honestly disagree. And one example would be racial biases. So, somebody might say honestly that they have egalitarian values, that they see the races as completely and utterly equal. Yet they might have implicit biases that favor, say, their in group, whatever race they might happen to be. And there is some evidence for this in society. And we saw in the case of the stereotypes, when you're watching the news or something, you may see some news story and it is a stereotypical presentation of information, say that CEOs are males, and you may actively disagree with that, or you may feel bad about that, or you may be upset about that. That here's just yet another example that plays into a stereotype. So even while you might object to such a stereotype, it is possible that people can still have implicit representations of these stereotypes, yet explicitly disavow them. Okay. Number four, implicit preferences favoring some social groups over others are pervasive in the population. And so psychologists have spent a lot of time trying to identify and measure these implicit preferences, and they find that we shake out into different social groups, and we associate either positive or negative emotional attitudes with different social groups in society. That would be an example of an implicit preference. Say we have a positive emotional association with one group, maybe our in group, and a negative association with an out group. Number five, the magnitude of implicit preferences varies by topic, person, situation. And so it is sensitive to our particular learning history, the immediate situation, which topic we're talking about. So there is variation in the extent and magnitude of these implicit preferences. And number six is an important one. Implicit and explicit processes both influence behavior. So this, of course, is an active area of research to document just to what extent implicit processes, implicit cognition, and implicit memory might be influencing behavior. We would like to think maybe just only those explicit processes influence behavior, right? See, if that were the case, then people could say, well, I'm not racist, or I'm not sexist, right? I have egalitarian values, and if explicit processes dominated, completely determined our behavior, then that would be great. we would have a world full of people who say their values and act according to their explicitly endorsed values. But the research indicates that these implicit representations also have the power to influence behavior. And that sets up, again, the idea that there can be conflict between the two.